were compatible because my father, who you saw in the video, instilled the family-centric values like nobody's tomorrow. That's what we had in common. But yet we were complementary. So Pat lived in the stable world, I lived in the chaos. And the two of us had a ball. And I thank her for being able to be chaotic. And I will miss her dearly because now I'm gonna have to be responsible. But I'm gonna only share two memories. One of my earliest memories, we've been having fun as a family, just sharing what's your earliest memory of Pat. And my sister-in-law, me, mentioned that you start remembering at 4, so everything in the context of 4 is happening. So Terry, we were 4 years old or 5 years old in this story.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so as families do, when you start having a whole pile of them, Jody, lots of kids, you find other families so that you, the parents, can have a conversation, right? Well, we lived back in the world like Terry McKay and Terry Kirstead. That was the family that we gravitated to. So we would go to Grandma Alice's house, and on the way home, we would stop at the Kirstead's farm. And it was a classic farm. It was great. Well, this farm, of course, and we lived in an era where there was no adult supervision at all. You just let your kids outdoors, right? So, being irresponsible and fearless, off we went to the barn. And in the barn was this, and it was a classic barn right out of the paintings. And it was stacked, chuck-a-buck full of all the hay they had harvested. So we were going to go explore this hay mound and go in the tunnels, up and down. So picture this, Terry, Pat, myself, Bob, I think Connie was with us, I'm not sure, because here we were 4 years old or 5 years old, maybe, a little old, I don't know. We're up at the top, maybe 8 feet from the top of the bottom of the barn, and I fell through the hole that you feed the hay through. And I was splatted, and all, of course, the cows are going, what the hell is that? And I'm laying there as Terry and Pat were running to the house going, she's dead! She's dead! She's dead! Well, I was knocked out for a couple of days, as I remember. Of course, I will expound that story, so you know it's probably only been a few hours, but hey, it was dramatic. And ended up in the hospital. But that was the first memory of Pat saving my day and being there for me. Well, now my most recent memory is Pat being there for me as she went through her disease. And as many of us may have experienced, it's not what we had planned on, having your, sibling having to go through this horrendous dreaded disease. And I had kind of pictured, at the time, there was a lot of people also having disease issues, and including my dad almost dying because of COVID, and a lot of things kind of colliding. It was a good run until COVID hit. And so I leaned into it. I was trying to, understand the circle of life and going, okay, I'm going to go visit my sister, and the dutiful thing that I'll do. But what happened was, as happened in many cases, she gave me way more than I ever gave her. This woman, you'd show up and spend time with her, and you got rid of your lizard brain, and you lived in the present, and you saw things around you never saw before, and it was literally fun. And on top of this, you got so many I love yous. How many can you get before it's not enough? It was there. And then when you were there with her, she had the giggle, and she taught me about consciousness, and that it's this slippery topic, and who knows if you're there or not. She was there the whole time, even though she couldn't speak and she couldn't walk eventually. Through the demise, she was there, and she would talk with her eyes, or she'd talk with her giggles, and just show me there is a hell of a lot going on when you lean into what's really uncomfortable. So I'm going to share with you a little moment on a clip that I think is an example of what I got to experience while living with Pat and her disease.
got it, huh?
It was those giggles that, made you keep coming back, so anyway, it was never a problem coming back to visit her, in fact, it was just so uplifting. So I think the next thing on the queuing up for the program is a few limericks from my